What's up, everybody? Welcome on into a special interview edition of the PWTorch Fireside Chat. I'm PWTorch Assistant Editor Zack Heydorn, and with me today from Impact Wrestling, Eddie Edwards. Eddie, thank you so much for joining me, man. It's a pleasure.
No, thank you for having me. Appreciate that.
So, man, got it. You've just seen it all in Impact Wrestling. You've been such a part of so many different eras of the company. How does it differ now from when you first joined? Back in the day.
Say that right now, it's an upswing. There's a lot of times, in any company, in any professional wrestling company, sometimes there's issues with the front office. Sometimes, it's the roster, us versus them type thing. Sometimes everybody's on different pages. But right now for Impact, man, it's like from the roster to the front office to production to PR to everything that we do, we're all on the same page. We're all working towards that same goal. What the end goal is, I don't know, but we're all working towards that next goal, trying to take Impact Wrestling to the next level, and we're all on the same page doing it. It's the atmosphere. I think is something that's not really talked about enough, and that's probably up to us to do a little bit more. But the atmosphere itself in the back is one of the best I've ever been in, between, like I said, the roster and the front office. Everybody's working together. We all have that same goal. It's not us versus them. It's not one against the other. It's all of us working together in unison.
And so you're going to Nashville again, Victory Road, kind of like the home of Impact Wrestling. I mean, what does that city, that town mean to you, mean to Impact? And how important is it to go back every now and then?
I mean, it means so much. Obviously, TNA was born in Nashville. There's so much history from this company in Nashville. And, for me, something that really strikes a chord is, during the pandemic, we were based out of Skyway Studios, where we'll be doing the Victory Road as well as the tapings the next day. And that's where I won my second world title during the pandemic inside Skyway Studios. So it has a very special place in my heart, the studio itself, but also Nashville in general. There's such a great vibe. Anyone who's ever been down here can feel the vibe of the city, but it's also a very wrestling-oriented city. So anytime we get back down here, we can expect some great crowds, fans. The crowd's going to be great. Everybody's going to feel that energy, and that goes throughout from the fans to the back to the locker room.
Okay, you mentioned the world title win. I want to dig into that. I mean, obviously we hear all the time that, hey, there's a responsibility that comes with being the world champion, and you got, kind of got the company on your shoulders a little bit. What did that, like, being that you have been in part of Impact for so long, what did it mean to you to have that responsibility entrusted to you at like such a crucial time too, with the pandemic and everything going on? I feel like you were like the perfect rock to kind of hold everything together at that moment. But what did you make of that timing?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was very uncertain times in the world, let alone professional wrestling. So for me to get that shot to be the world champion, like you said, being the world champion, you want to be that one that carries the company on your back. I always want to be the guy that's, doing the interviews or traveling to do whatever to spread the word about Impact Wrestling. And at that time, to be able to say I was the world champion, it really showed the company's faith in me. It felt like everything that I've been doing for the past, 8 years at that point, 7 years or whatever it was, that everything that I've been doing, it was for a reason. And the company sees that and they rewarded that. So it felt like everything that I'd worked so hard to do, it felt like I had accomplished that goal when I won that world title the second time.
Man, that's so cool. Okay, want to get into, recently had the heel turn, and against the Impact faction. And so outside of like story, how much did you have to pivot what you do as a heel compared to as a babyface? Like in terms of what you're looking for as a crowd reaction or how you work your matches. Like, was it a tough switch for you?
It was, I don't know if I would say it was tough, but I'd say, of course, it was different. My whole career through Impact, I was the good guy, and especially most recently, I was, a guy who truly was, I thought of myself as the heart and soul of Impact Wrestling. So to try to flip that on its head, it is tough. It's tough to do at first mentally, but once you get into it, It's just about feeling what's right out there. You know what I mean? I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the people to hate me as opposed to them cheering me and chanting Eddie. I want to hear them chanting Eddie sucks versus Eddie, 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 which, how it used to be. So you go out there, and honestly, it's fun, man. It's a lot of fun because this is something, I mean, on the Indies and in ROH, I'd done heel, but it's been a long time, like I said, in Impact. So to be able to flip it in Impact and be a heel and try to go out there and get the people to hate me, it's been a lot of fun. And it's something different. I've been doing this a long time, so to be able to do something different at this point, that really gets the juices flowing. It gets me to step outside my comfort zone and see, all right, well, what can we do now? What can we do to piss these people off? Or what can we do here? Maybe this will work. Or maybe let's try that. Not everything works, but you got to go out there and try something different. Sometimes it succeeds, sometimes it fails, but either way, you got to go out there and try something new. And that's one of the great things about Impact is there is a lot of freedom, and they put a lot of faith. I am speaking personally, of course, but I feel like it's the locker room generally. Put a lot of faith in us to go out there, and they trust us to do what we do and make everything succeed and make it the best that we can. And I'm having a lot of fun doing it, especially with, not to ramble on, but especially with the group, that I'm with, Honor No More. Guys like Matt Taven, Vincent, and Mike Bennett, we're all New England guys. And me and Mike, we started around the same time. We had some of my earliest matches were with Mike Bennett, and we were on the same shows when we first started. Matt Taven, I've known him his whole career. So at this point, we're great friends outside of wrestling. So for so long we talked, it'd be cool if we could work together, hopefully down the road we can do something. And now, because everything that happened with the Ring of Honor and how everything unfolded, not only are we working in the same company together, we now get to be a part of the same group and do these things together. And that's a comforting feeling to be able to do that with people that I care about and people that, we enjoy doing the same stuff. So we get to do it together, and doing this ride together, that's something special.
Working in a faction like that, how do you guys make sure that you're on the same page with everything in terms of pitching ideas and direction? I mean, because look, everybody's got their ideas and their own personalities, and yeah, you're friends and friendly, but I'm assuming that there's times where you want to go one way and Bennett wants to go a different way. Talk just about that dichotomy and working day to day.
Yeah, of course it's different. Again, I came into Impact as a tag wrestler. We worked together, me and Davey, and then I was singles for so long, and now it's the group thing. It's the group dynamic. And, speaking of Honor No More only, because it's the group that I've been in, is that, the good thing is there's nobody who's selfish, within the group. Nobody who's trying to draw the focus just to themselves. And we all understand that. Maybe this segment's about Kenny King and the X Division title. This segment's about PCO and Vincent. Oh, this segment's about me. And we all kind of know that we can't all shine each and every segment, but we do our best to help each other shine in each moment, whether it's a backstage promo. It's like, okay, well, you go. Let's try to bring it all together. And so we can make it more of a group thing versus two singles guys and a tag team and a crazy monster. We want to feel as one unit, and sometimes it's tough because people do have different ideas, but it's all about getting those creative juices flowing and pitching ideas. And sometimes I'm never offended if my ideas don't work and people don't want to do my ideas, because that's the great thing. That's how you can be so creative in wrestling. That's why matches are always different, because you have two guys with two ideas coming into it, pitching them, and you're going to mesh them together and see what happens. And we have a group of people who are giving ideas, and we try to come up with the best thing collectively for that group. And we all take pride in the group as a whole, and we want everyone to succeed. So if we have something going on for the tag titles with the OGK, and we want to make sure that works, we want to focus on them when we go out there and we do that collectively. So as long as we're all on the same page, which we have been, I feel like we're going to succeed.
That's great. I want to get back to real quick something you said about working heel. How does, you kind of talked about like the character part. What about the actual in-ring? Like, do you have you changed your style, moveset? What goes into that to make sure that you're not getting the pops that you normally would?
Yeah, for me, I just think about it, as long as I'm not going out there and I'm not outshining what my opponent is doing, or I'm not doing something that makes them look shitty or makes them look like they can't wrestle. I'm doing my job. My job is to go out there and make the babyface look amazing. And that's how I was trained. Everybody has a different point of view on how you do these things, but how I was trained is you make the babyface look amazing. You make them look like the superhero. And that's always my goal. So I may change. I haven't really changed the stuff that I do per se, like move wise, but the way we go into certain things or how it's laid out, that stuff is all different for the most part because, I don't want to do it, to get the crowd going or whatever it is. I kind of do it to cut a guy off or do a cheap shot or whatever it is, something that won't get cheered, will get jeers versus the cheers that it used to. It's kind of all how you lay it out for me.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So last year you had a long, feud, multiple matches with Sammy Callahan, another kind of Impact staple, for lack of a better word. What was it like working with him in that type of way with that type of long arc?
Again, it was stepping outside of my comfort zone and doing something that I hadn't done. The whole, getting hit in the face with a baseball bat, that whole thing, which started the evolution of myself as a character. It forced me to again think outside the box and become more of a brawler or a hardcore just fighter type of character versus what I was doing before, and to be able to get back to it with Sammy again and kind of do this full arc like you said, it felt like we accomplished something because we wanted to build it as long as we did. We wanted it to do this whole long arc and have the big payoff at the end where me, the babyface, succeeds and beats the evil villain, which is Sammy Callahan at that time. And it felt like we were able to do that. We were able to accomplish what we did. Of course, not everything worked that we want to work, but in the end, I feel like we accomplished our goals in doing that. And it's fun to be a part of a long story where you can see it unfold and you get to watch bits and pieces as you tell the story and you reveal certain parts of the plot to the crowd as you go along and you watch them react as you're reacting to it. It's a pretty cool feeling to be a part of that.
Do you guys, when you're in something like that or talking about, hey, all right, we're going to do this thing, we're going to work together, like how much of it is like you and him in a room talking about laying out 3 months of content, 3 months of stuff, and how much of it is, all right, we get to the building, what are we doing today?
For the most part, we kind of much of we just come up with ideas randomly. It's not necessarily, we're not sitting down hammering out what we think we want to do, but we all have general ideas. And again, we go back to, me and Sammy have different ideas about everything, but then you come together and try to create something different or something special as much as you can. So, you never know when those ideas are going to hit for any part of wrestling. For me, I may be sitting home on the couch and something comes to you and then, oh, maybe we can do that at some point. But, we know the direction we wanted to go. How we got there, that could differ day by day.
Okay. And so for your future at Impact, like you said, you've done so much and you've done it all and seen it all. Is there anybody like that you're saying to yourself, man, I got to work with this guy? You've got the big match with Josh Alexander coming up at Bound for Glory. Outside of that, what's on the docket in terms of like your wish list of opponents or, different goals that you want to accomplish?
It's tough to pinpoint a goal per se. It's more, I want to be able to continue, as we talked about, I want to continue to help drive Impact forward. And within that, I want to help, make Honor No More the best thing that we can for the group as a whole. And again, try to do something different and try to create something a little different. And, match-wise, you mentioned the Josh match, but that's a match that I have wanted to happen for a long time. Me and Josh have never faced off in a singles match. So that is a match that I'm really looking forward to at, the biggest pay-per-view of the year, Bound for Glory. But after that, there's so many guys in the locker room that I would love to work again between, a Moose and a Sammy or Rich Swann, guys that I like to go back to, a Trey Miguel, who's grown so much. And then, younger guys that I haven't really wrestled anymore, or go back to Ace Austin or Chris Bay. The great thing about Ring of Honor, the great thing about Impact is the roster as a whole is you can pick and choose from anywhere and you can create something great, I feel. And like any night of the week, it could be, you could be opening match or it could be the main event. That's how deep our roster goes. And I just want to be able to create new things and, again, try to step outside that, that comfort box, that comfort level, and create something new.
Very good. Eddie, I want to be respectful of our time here. We're at about the 15-minute mark. So, hey, thank you very much. Congrats to all your success and upcoming stuff in Nashville, Victory Road, and Bound for Glory, coming up against Josh Alexander. Really appreciate it. Any final words, Eddie?
No, man, I just want to appreciate it. So I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time. I want to, say thank you to the fans who do tune in. And, if you haven't tuned in yet, tune into Impact. And I swear you won't be disappointed. We got something for everybody. Women's wrestling, knockouts, hardcore, X Division, Lucha Libre, whatever you want. Impact has it. Check out Victory Road. Check me winning the Impact World title October 7th, Bound for Glory. And just support wrestling as a whole. And appreciate that.